The Void Walker drifted silently through the purple haze of the Nixus Nebula, its weathered hull bearing the scars of 1,000 battles. Captain Raven Blackwood stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling cosmic clouds ahead. Her fingers traced the ancient Earth insignia etched into her pendant, a reminder of the heritage she carried in secret. "Captain, we're picking up unusual energy signatures," called out Navigator Soren Frost from his station, his cybernetically enhanced hands dancing across the holographic controls. "Pattern matches old Earth frequencies." Raven's heart quickened, but her voice remained steady. "Show me." The main display flickered to life, revealing a complex wave pattern that pulsed with an almost organic rhythm. Behind her, First Officer Kira Nomura exchanged glances with their resident alien specialist, Dexter of the Basilisk Cluster. The tall, scaled humanoid's throat membrane flickered with interest, a telltale sign of excitement his species couldn't hide. "This signature," Dexter rumbled, "it bears similarities to the quantum beacon we discovered in the Helios Drift, but stronger, more deliberate." Raven nodded slowly. For 3 years, they'd been chasing fragments of humanity's lost technology across the stars, staying one step ahead of the hegemony's hunter-killer squadrons. Each piece brought them closer to understanding why their ancestors had vanished during the Great Exodus, leaving their children scattered across distant colonies. "Soren, can you pinpoint the source?" "Working on it, Captain. The nebula's interference is weight." His augmented eye whirred as it focused. "Got it. Bearing 247 Mark 33, approximately 12,000 kilometers. Kira, ship status." Her first officer consulted her data pad. "Hull integrity at 82%. Quantum shields holding stable at 60%. We're running low on reactor mass, but we should have enough for a careful approach and quick exit if needed." Raven weighed their options. The hegemony's patrols had been increasingly aggressive in this sector, and their ship, while formidable, was no match for a full battle group. But something about this signal felt different, important. "Plot an approach vector, Soren. Kira, sound general quarters. Dexter, I want you monitoring all frequencies for hegemony chatter." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency as alert tones echoed through the ship. In the 3 years since they'd salvaged the Void Walker from a forgotten maintenance dock, they'd evolved into something more than a crew. They were family. As they pushed deeper into the nebula, the purple haze gradually gave way to patches of absolute darkness. Raven felt the familiar tension in her shoulders, the weight of command pressing down like a physical force. "Contact," Soren's voice cut through the silence. "Natural formation ahead approximately 3 kilometers in diameter, the signals coming from inside." The main screen adjusted, revealing a massive asteroid slowly rotating in the void. Its surface was scarred and pockmarked, unremarkable save for one detail, a perfectly geometric opening carved into its face. "Analysis, Dexter." The alien's throat membrane pulsed with shades of blue and green. "The entrance appears artificial, carved using methods consistent with early human mining technology. But there's something else." He manipulated his controls, bringing up a detailed scan. "The rock's composition includes traces of quantum-locked materials. This is no ordinary mining outpost." Raven's pendant felt heavy against her chest. "Soren, bring us in closer. Kira, prepare a boarding team, full environmental gear and—" "Captain," Dexter's normally calm voice carried an edge of alarm. "Multiple contacts entering the nebula, hegemony energy signatures, 3. No, 5 vessels. heavy cruiser configuration. Kira's hands tightened on her console. They must have been tracking us. "Time to intercept," Raven demanded. 12 minutes at their current velocity, Soren reported. "The nebula's slowing them down, but not enough." Raven's mind raced through scenarios, discarding each one until only the boldest remained. "Soren, take us into the asteroid. Kira, divert power from non-essential systems to the shields. Dexter, prepare to broadcast an electromagnetic pulse on my mark." "Captain," Kira started, "if we go in there, we might find what we've been looking for," Raven finished. "And if not, that passage is too narrow for their cruisers. We'll have the advantage in close quarters." The Void Walker glided toward the asteroid's entrance, its ancient engines humming with power. As they passed into the shadow of the massive rock, emergency lights bathed the bridge in a red glow. "Multiple chambers detected," Soren reported. "The signal's strongest from the central cavity. Hegemony vessels entering weapons range in 7 minutes," Dexter added. Raven took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "Take us in. Whatever the hegemony's after, we're going to find it first." The ship's external lights illuminated a vast chamber as they entered, revealing rows of ancient machinery and dormant computing cores. But it was the structure at the center that drew everyone's attention. A towering pillar of black metal and crystalline matrices, pulsing with a familiar blue light. "By the first stars," Dexter whispered. "It's a Nexus core, a genuine human quantum computer." Before anyone could respond, the core's light intensified and a voice, neither male nor female but hauntingly human, filled the bridge. "Identity confirmed, human genetic markers detected. Welcome home, children of Earth, initiating protocol Starchild." The chamber erupted with light, and Raven Blackwood realized that their real journey was only beginning. The secrets of humanity's disappearance, and perhaps their future, lay within this ancient tomb of technology. Now they just had to survive long enough to unlock them. As the hegemony ships closed in and the ancient core hummed to life, Raven squared her shoulders and gave the order that would change everything. "All hands, battle stations. We're not losing this one." The echo of humanity's past was about to become a symphony of revolution, and the Void Walker's crew would conduct its opening notes. The hegemony data fortress loomed before them, a twisted spire of dark metal rising from the surface of Nexus Prime. Captain Raven Blackwood adjusted her stealth suit's camouflage parameters, the adaptive fabric shimming to match the fortress's obsidian walls. Beside her, Kira Nomura checked her quantum disruptor one final time. "Dexter status," Raven whispered into her neural comm. "Maintaining position in high orbit," the alien's voice resonated in her mind. "The Void Walker's signature is masked by the magnetic storm. Soren has plotted 3 escape vectors if needed." Raven touched the pendant at her neck, now housing a sliver of data crystal from the Nexus core they discovered 2 weeks ago. The ancient AI had given them coordinates to this facility, claiming it held the key to understanding the Starweaver protocol. Whatever that was, the hegemony had gone to extraordinary lengths to protect it. "Remember," Kira murmured, "we have 18 minutes before the shield grid resets." They moved like shadows across the fortress's outer terraces, their suits bending light around them. The facility's defenses were formidable: quantum sensors, plasma turrets, and swarms of hunter drones. But the hegemony's arrogance was their weakness. They never expected anyone to attempt a physical infiltration. A patrol of Sentinel guards marched past, their crystalline armor gleaming. Raven and Kira pressed against a wall, holding their breath. The Sentinel's neural implants could detect unauthorized thought patterns, but the shielding in their suits, reversed engineered from old Earth tech, kept them hidden. Access point ahead, Kira indicated with a subtle gesture. Third-level security node. Raven pulled out a device that looked like ancient copper circuitry wrapped around a quantum core. Another gift from the Nexus AI. Let's see if our friend's bypass codes still work. The device interfaced with the security node, projecting holographic symbols that shifted and realigned. After what felt like an eternity, the door slid open with a soft hiss. "We're in, Dexter, start your countdown." They moved through sterile corridors, following the path the AI had outlined. The central data core would be heavily guarded, but they weren't headed there. Their target was something older, hidden beneath layers of new technology, a forgotten terminal from humanity's golden age. A sudden alarm blared through the facility. Raven's heart raced, but Kira's quick check confirmed it wasn't for them. "Unrelated breach in Sector 7, we're clear." They descended through maintenance shafts and unused corridors until reaching a sealed chamber deep within the fortress's foundations. Here, the sleek architecture gave way to older, more utilitarian design. Human design. "This is it," Raven breathed, recognizing the Earth insignia barely visible beneath centuries of corrosion. The bypass device worked again, and they slipped inside. The chamber was small, dominated by a single terminal that looked both ancient and somehow more advanced than anything the hegemony had built. Raven inserted her pendant into the interface. The terminal hummed to life, projecting a holographic display that filled the room. Star charts, technical schematics, and streams of data surrounded them. But it was the central image that drew their attention, a massive device shaped like a double helix, wrapped around what appeared to be a miniature star. "The Starweaver," Kira whispered in awe. A soft voice emanated from the terminal, the same one from the Nexus core. Project Starweaver was humanity's contingency. When the younger races turned against us, we didn't just flee. We scattered the pieces of something greater. The hologram shifted, showing the device in operation. It wasn't a weapon as they'd suspected, but something far more profound. The Starweaver was designed to rewrite the fundamental forces of space-time, allowing for the creation of stable wormholes without the need for massive gates. It would have connected the galaxy in ways the hegemony never imagined. "Why didn't humanity use it?" Raven asked. "Because it wasn't finished. The final component, the stellar heart, was hidden away when the fall began. But now, after centuries of calculation, the pieces are aligned. The Starweaver can be completed." Suddenly, Dexter's voice cut through their comms. "Captain, we have a problem. Multiple ships entering the system, reading hegemony signatures, but they're not military configurations." A new voice filled the chamber, smooth, cultured, and decidedly dangerous. "Because they're not military, they're mine." Raven and Kira spun around, weapons raised. A figure stood in the doorway, tall, elegant, wearing the flowing robes of a hegemony archon. But his features were human. "Julian Drake," he said with a slight bow. "Former Earth Defense Force, now serving a higher purpose, and you must be the ones who have been causing such fascinating trouble." "You're human," Raven said, keeping her disruptor aimed at his chest. "Working for them." "Working with them," Drake corrected. "Someone had to ensure humanity's legacy wasn't completely forgotten. The hegemony may be flawed, but they bring order. The Starweaver would bring chaos." "It would bring freedom," Kira countered. Drake's smile didn't reach his eyes. Freedom is overrated. Now shall we discuss this civilized or... The lights went out. Emergency sirens blared. Multiple reactor breaches detected, Dexter reported with satisfaction in his voice. The electromagnetic pulse you requested is ready, Captain. Raven smiled grimly. Sorry to cut this short, Drake. Dexter lighted up. The pulse hit like a silent thunderclap. Every system in the fortress went dark. In the chaos that followed, Raven and Kira made their escape, the precious data secured in her pendant. But Drake's words haunted her as they fought their way back to the Void Walker. A human working with the hegemony complicated everything. But it also confirmed what the AI had suggested. There were more survivors out there. The question was, whose side would they be on when the Starweaver was finally rebuilt? As the Void Walker jumped to safety through the magnetic storm, Raven gathered her crew on the bridge. We have the blueprints, she announced. Now we need to find the stellar heart, and we're not the only ones looking. Soren's cybernetic eye whirred as he studied the star charts. Where do we start? Raven looked at the coordinates the AI had provided, a system deep in uncharted space. We start with the truth. There's a human colony out there that never fell, and they've been guarding the heart for centuries. The hunt for humanity's greatest creation was about to become a race against one of their own. But Raven had something Drake didn't, a crew that believed in more than order. They believed in hope. The Imperial convoy's quantum shields cast rippling patterns across the broken asphalt as Reyna counted down the seconds. Beside her, Kravek's purple eyes tracked the lead vehicle's movement, while Nyria signaled silently to the teams hidden along the route. Remember, Reyna whispered into her analog radio, sequential pulses, don't fire everything at once. The resistance fighters acknowledged with clicks, no voices to betray their position. The convoy entered the kill zone, 3 heavily armed transports flanked by hovering Sentinel drones. Through her binoculars, Reyna could see the Imperial guards inside, their silver-toned faces confident behind their quantum-enhanced armor. They had no reason to fear an ambush, not here, not from the primitive humans they'd conquered. Jackson's voice crackled through the radio. First team ready. Reyna raised her hand, then dropped it. The first pulse generator activated with a mechanical whir, sending invisible waves of disruption across the street. The effect was immediate and beautiful. The lead transport's shields flickered and died, its quantum systems shorting out in cascading waves of failure. A second team, she commanded. Another pulse, this one targeting the drones. They dropped from the sky like dead insects, their advanced AI cores reduced to useless crystal. The Imperial guards shouted in confusion, reaching for weapons that no longer functioned. All teams execute. The resistance struck from multiple positions, their retrofitted projectile weapons, another relic from humanity's past, tearing through the now vulnerable transport armor. Kravek led the ground assault, his intimate knowledge of Imperial tactics turning their own procedures against them. They're trying to call for reinforcements, Nyria reported, monitoring a salvaged Imperial communications scanner. But the pulse field is blocking all quantum transmissions. The battle was swift and decisive. Within minutes, the convoy lay disabled, its cargo of quantum processing cores ripe for the taking. But as Reyna approached the lead transport, she noticed something odd about the Imperial Guard's reactions. They seemed almost prepared for this possibility. Kravek, she called out, look at their secondary weapons. The Nexian deserter examined the fallen guard's equipment, his expression darkening. Mechanical backups. They're learning, adapting to our tactics. We need to move faster, Jackson insisted, already organizing teams to salvage what they could. Word of this attack will reach Imperial Command as soon as the pulse field fades. Reyna helped load the captured quantum cores into their vehicles, old combustion engine trucks that were immune to electromagnetic disruption. But her mind was racing, analyzing the implications of the Imperial Guard's backup weapons. Later in the Resistance bunker, the leadership gathered to assess the operation's impact. The mood was celebratory, but Reyna noticed both Kravak and Nyria remained reserved. "The Empire won't underestimate us again," Nyria explained, spreading out a map marked with Imperial patrol routes. "They're already adjusting their security protocols. The next convoy will be better prepared." Jackson leaned forward, his scarred face intense. "Then we hit them harder. We have the cores now. We can study their latest tech, find new weaknesses." "It's not that simple," Kravak interjected. "The Empire's strength isn't just their technology, it's their ability to adapt. They'll start training their forces in ancient combat techniques, developing non-quantum weapons." Reyna studied the captured equipment, an idea forming. "Then we change too. We need to expand our operation, connect with other resistance cells. The Empire thinks globally, we need to think bigger." The next few days were a blur of activity. Resistance members worked tirelessly to reverse-engineer the captured quantum cores, while Reyna and Nyria developed new variations of the pulse generators. Kravak trained fighters in Imperial combat techniques, preparing them for the evolving battlefield. But tension simmered beneath the surface. Some resistance members, emboldened by their success, pushed for more aggressive actions. Others, like Jackson, urged caution and strategic planning. During a rare, quiet moment, Reyna found Nyria working alone in the makeshift engineering bay. The Nexian's blue eyes were focused on a modified pulse generator, but her thoughts seemed distant. "Something's troubling you," Reyna observed. Nyria hesitated before responding. "The Empire's response to our attack. It wasn't just tactical adaptation. They're implementing contingency protocols I've never seen before. Something about this has them truly worried." "Isn't that good news?" "When the Empire worries, they become unpredictable, dangerous." Nyria turned to face Reyna fully. "There are factions within Imperial Command who would rather see Earth burned than lose control of it." The implications chilled Reyna. Before she could respond, alarms echoed through the bunker. Jackson's voice crackled over the intercom. "Multiple Imperial signatures approaching. This isn't a patrol, it's a strike force." Reyna rushed to the command center, where Kravak was already analyzing the threat. 6 heavy assault crawlers supported by atmospheric gunships. They're not trying to be subtle anymore. "How did they find us?" Jackson demanded. "They didn't," Nyria replied, studying the tactical display. "They're conducting a systematic sweep of the entire sector. Sooner or later, they would have found us anyway." Reyna looked at their assembled pulse generators, their captured quantum cores, their trained fighters. They weren't ready for a direct confrontation of this scale, but they had no choice. "We've hurt them," she announced to the gathering resistance members. "We've shown them that humanity isn't defeated. Now we show them we can't be crushed." As the bunker erupted into battle preparations, Reyna caught Kravak's eye. The former Imperial commander nodded grimly, understanding the weight of the moment. They had struck the first blow in this new phase of the war, but the Empire's response would test everything they had built. The Resistance had wanted the Empire's attention. Now they had it, along with the fury that came with it. As Reyna checked her weapons and gathered her team, she remembered something her father used to say: "Be careful what you wish for, you might just get it." The Empire was coming, bringing all its power to bear. But this time, humanity would face them with more than just hope. They had weapons that worked, allies who understood the enemy, and most importantly, nothing left to lose. The real war was about to begin.